Listening maps are one of my favorite tools to use in teaching music, whether in the classroom or at home. In this video, I will cover what listening maps are, where you can find them, and how they can be used to cover a wide range of musical topics. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Leanne, a homeschool mom of 2 kids and a music educator. And while this channel continues to grow, it would mean so much to me if you would like this video and subscribe so that I can continue making content that is helpful to others. First, let's talk about what listening maps actually are. And as I go throughout the video, I'll be sure to put several examples up on the screen so you can see what I'm referring to. Think about how a basic road map, remember those things before we had GPS, but a road map was meant to guide you to where you're going and give you directions on how to get there. So in a similar way, a listening map, when we use it to listen to a musical composition, it helps to guide us through the music and gives us kind of like road signs about what we're going to hear and helps us get from one section to another. As you look at some of these examples, you can see that listening maps could look quite different depending on the style. So some of them will just simply use picture icons like clip art to represent certain things in the music, whereas others will actually use realistic looking pictures of things like instruments. I often find that listening maps will combine some of each type. So they may have some clip art that is used, but they will combine it with actual musical symbols to show things like dynamics and such. There are 2 main reasons why I love to use listening maps in my teaching. The first is that they can be used with very young children, even who are in the pre-reading stage. So they may not be reading words yet, they may not be reading actual music notation yet, but it doesn't really matter. We are teaching them one of the very foundational skills of reading, which is tracking from left to right. So you can literally hand them the map and show them how they're going to use their fingers to trace the pictures going from left to right, and this will help them in their later reading skills and also when they're learning to read musical notation. The other reason that I love to use these maps, even with my older students, is that it allows me to take a larger musical work and kind of break it down into smaller chunks that are more manageable. So let's say I want to play a piece that is several minutes long, and I'm afraid that the students are going to get overwhelmed with that amount of listening, but they have a map to follow along with, and let's say that map is very clearly labeled into sections, such as A, B, C, and so on. Well, now I'm less worried about them getting bored or kind of forgetting and losing track of where they are in the song because they have a visual, again, we call it a map for a reason, to help guide them along the way and make that longer piece of music less overwhelming. Where is the best place to find listening maps? Well, this is going to seem really simple and obvious, but I always like to just start with a simple Google search. So I'll type in the name I'm looking for. I want to find a listening map for Vivaldi's Spring Allegro, and I'll just see what search results pop up. Many people have them listed on their own personal websites or blogs. There's also a lot of good options on Teacher Paid Teacher, and if you like to find a digital version, actually searching YouTube can be quite helpful because many people have created digital listening maps that are kind of interactive where students can follow along on the screen. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I actually do prefer paper copies of listening maps, unless I happen to be teaching a really large class of students and it's easier to just put it on a screen. I prefer to hand out paper copies to my students. So if I've done the research and I really haven't found anything good or any options at all to match that particular song, then I will often just create a listening map myself by using things like clip art or using Canva as a great program. And on that note, if you visit my website, morningbasketmusic.com, I do have a free version of listening map, this one right here, for Vivaldi's Spring Allegro, and you can go there and download it totally for free and have your own copy to use with your students. I did want to point out kind of the shape of it was done intentionally. I know earlier I mentioned that it's a good pre-reading skill to teach tracking from left to right. However, in this case, for the version that I made, I purposely made it in a circular clock shape because of the form of this piece. It is called a rondo form, and if you go back a couple videos, I'll put a link to this one right here. We talked about how rondo means the A section, the main section, keeps returning and repeating over and over. So I thought by using the circular shape, this is going to help students with this piece track where it goes around like rondo form does. Also, if you download this free listening map, you will notice that on page 2, each section is labeled but left intentionally blank. And that's because I wanted you to also have a copy where your students can create their own listening maps. This is super fun, and it doesn't even have to take a lot of time or be very difficult. Let's say you're doing it with older students who are very artistic and they want to draw something in each box. That's great, that's wonderful. But let's say I'm doing this with my younger students. Some good options would be passing out stickers that they can use to represent the different A, B, C, and so on sections. Or, here's a really fun idea, if you've got a set of stamps, you could also have them do the same thing. Just make sure that each time they're stamping section A, that they're using the same picture to represent that part of the song. So be sure to go check it out at morningbasketmusic.com. Okay, so we've defined what listening maps are. We've talked about where you can find them or even how you can create your own listening maps. Let's end with this. What are some different ways that I can use listening maps in my teaching, and what are some of the many concepts that we can cover? Form is going to be the first and most obvious answer of what you can teach with a listening map. Because remember, form literally means the order of the music. So if I have a visual guide to help me know where I'm at in the song, then it's very obvious for me to see what the different sections are and where I'm headed in the music. Just as a little tidbit here, it is a good idea if you're trying to encourage your students to label the map themselves, then you want to make sure and you leave off or kind of mark out the letter labels such as A, B, and C, because we're going to encourage them to hear and respond when they hear different changes in the music, and they can actually write in the letters themselves. Maps are also great for helping to teach instruments in the orchestra. So let's say we're at that point where we're trying to connect the picture with the actual name of the instrument. We'll go ahead and show your students what the map looks like and have them identify what instruments they're going to hear ahead of time before you actually play the whole piece. Encourage your students to listen for changes in things like dynamics and tempo, and then to see how that's represented on their listening map. Like I said earlier in this video, some maps actually do come with those markings on them. So your students may see symbols for piano or forte and so on. But let's go back to my example that I showed you for Vivaldi's Spring. I intentionally did not put those symbols on it, but I would ask my students, okay, when we got to part B and we hear that part of the music, does it seem like the birds are a good representation because the sounds were soft? Yes. Okay, what about in section D? Notice that I chose this thunder and lightning symbol. Do you think that was a good choice? Yeah, because the music gets a lot darker and loud sounding. So whether the map clearly has it labeled or not, we can talk about those different things that they're hearing related to tempo and dynamics. You can help your students identify different rhythm patterns that they may hear in the music. And many of these listening maps will not come with any rhythmic notation on them, because that would be something more like a play-along map that you might see. But if they do hear a particular rhythm that gets repeated several times, let's say part A in this song, we always hear ti, 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 ta, ta. Well, you can practice drawing that out for them and have them copy your rhythmic notation and go ahead and include that on part A on their listening map. So again, we're matching what we hear in the music to the actual musical symbols. Finally, I feel like this is the most important thing that we can use any type of listening map for, and that is for having discussion with our students. So this is not about me handing them a piece of paper and saying, here's exactly what you're going to hear in the song, because they really don't have to do any thinking of their own. No, instead I'm going to hand them the map, give them some time to look over it, and make their own predictions about what the music might sound like and what they might be hearing, especially if it's their first time ever hearing the piece of music. You can follow up with some more open-ended or opinion-based questions about the song. So tell me, what was your favorite section of the music and why? Or if you were to go create your own listening map based on this piece, would you have chosen those same types of pictures that were used? Would you have chosen the sunshine and the birds and the flowers or whatever? Or would you have chosen to represent the different parts of the music with other pictures? Tell me what it might look like. I'll leave you with one little bonus tip here at the end, just from teacher to teacher. Listening maps are also a great way to assess who is paying attention. Because as your students follow along, they should be using their fingers to track each part of the music. And so sometimes I just like to, if I have a hunch about maybe not the entire class is exactly on track paying attention, then I may pause the music somewhere in the middle and go, okay, who can point on their paper exactly where we're at in the song? And you will know right away who is really tracking with you and who maybe needs a little extra encouragement. If you have any of your own ideas to share about how you've used listening maps in your teaching, or perhaps you've even created your own, please drop those links and ideas below in the comments section. And while you're there, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to Morning Basket Music so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, happy music making!